So we really check out these two formulas in our previous videos whereby we were explaining or two types of formulas which ye ke compound interest. Re shumisha ge le gore statement se re motho ke o investile or o tšere loan under the compound interest. And then this one re tseba gore ke simple interest. So now we're going to be using a different formula this time. Compound interest re feditše ka yona, it only has one formula. But in simple interest, we have two formulas, which is this one and this one. SI is equal to PIN. You know by now that the number they together like this, they're actually multiplying each other. So this is P times I times N. I know some textbook or some sources these letters by N times I times P or P times N times I. It doesn't matter. Remember communicative property in multiplication order ga ine taba. So nna ke no bea in this ke arrange in this way gore o gopole gore ge re dira anything that has to do with money e bereka ka pin o ntšha tšhalete go tlhokega pin. So it's easy for you to remember that go lebetse gore kana SI le kana leng, you just say oh pin, so ke P times I times N. Okay, so this formula e bereka kae? In the introductory video ya finance, we can tlhalosa the difference between the interest amount and the interest rate. So ke no dira a quick revision nyana in a nutshell gore ke boletse gore the interest rate re bona ka di-percentage most of the times. So ke le goreng o tshwanetse o e calculate pele go kry-a le gore amount ya gona ke bokae, ke interest rate. And then interest amount ke a straight money, like maybe 75%, 75 rand interest. So this is the straight interest, the exact interest amount ye ba tla ba go charge yona or ye ba tla ba go keletša yona if o tla ba dira investment. So this formula ke re tla bang re shumisha ge re tla ba re nyakana le the interest amount. So as you can see a gona A, so a rena the accumulated amount renale so this SI P, you already know it stands for the principal amount or the first amount. The I stands for the interest rate. The N stands for the period. And then SI get the simple interest amount. Ke interest amount mara e bereka only if statement is really simple interest. So if statement is really compound interest, this formula is off limits. Are we shumishi at all? We shumisha only if it is simple interest. Reina ka re shumisha the interest amount. Let's look at an example. This one area, Mushita invests 500 rand into an account with 13% simple interest, right, per annum. We know that per annum per year for 4 years. Calculate the interest he receives after 4 years. You know by now that you layer down your data or simplify deal and you just say A, P, I and N, and then you go look for each and every value here. Rabana right now or Mushita ba re investile 500 rand. We see that is the P. Already you know that is the P, the principal amount, because mtuko gona sa we invest. And then very with 13%, we know that is the interest. Now guys, simple interest. The moment we are simple interest, we're gonna be using this formula 1 plus I times N, or this time SI is equal to P times I times N. So largely for 4 years, for 4 years it's our N. Now the question is calculate the interest. That's why I highlight calculate the interest. About calculate the A. So of course now because we calculate the interest, I gotta calculate the interest, it is actually looking for the interest amount. So now you know very well or you cannot use this formula because formula ye kia mathomo ga ina the interest amount. So what are we calculate? So the simplest way go re shumishe this formula because ke yona ibengele the interest amount ye ba inyakang, which is SI. Agar SI ye the simple interest amount. So ra tseba re ba inyakang a she gona and re na le P, re na le I, re na le N, meaning we can use formula ya simple interest. Ya gore simple interest amount e lekana le PIN, P times I times N. And then we just substitute. We have our P is 500 Rand. We have our interest is 13%. Remember, Reinaga in decimal, so we divide 100 and then multiply it by the period, which is 4 years. And then just by doing this, you just press your calculator and then you say 500. Guys, please avoid go or simplify, because some people make mistakes about simplify. Just press this thing as it is, and then you're gonna get the value of 260 Rand. Don't forget to make conclusion. If ever maybe we want to as this 260 Rand, their conclusion, or therefore the interest received like in which the interest receives is equal to 260 Rand, to show where you are dealing with money here. But if you just the conclusion, you can just say were equal to 260 Rand. Don't forget the rent, because this is like the SI unit for money. So yeah, you can see what it's actually simple. All you have to do go level or question in your feeling. And I'm always telling you that in finance you must mind the English here. So you just lay out your data about feeling, and then if ever calculate the interest, and then we investment in simple interest, what are already formula highlighting in red. Yeah, SI is equal to P. But if you're in a compound, just know what you're finding, which get all later on in the video. But you are not gonna use this formula if barely compound interest. Rishimisha a fair simple interest. This question here November 2018, as you can see. Question 4. In area, Daniel, I'm gonna assume that is Daniel, invest 1,800 Rand for 5 years at R% simple interest. The interest on the investment is 720. Now calculate the interest rate. Okay, so once again, we're gonna lay out our data. Okay, 1,800 already see what it's our P, it's our principal amount, because we invest. 5 years here, we know that is our period. And now R%, obviously we do not know our I, our interest, because it's R%. And then the interest on the investment, it's 720. Uskadira mistake where this is our A, this is not your A, but the interest on this investment is 720. So now I can go there, lay down my data, or P is 1,800. My period is 5 years. I get to be my I, and then my interest amount as I capital letter. My interest amount is 720 Rand. So as from here, formula because already under simple interest. So I know that SI. You can pause the video, guys. SI is equal to P times I times N. And then now it's a matter of substitution, because can I lay simple interest? Remember, can I lay my interest rate? But can I lay simple interest jaga is 720. The interest amount is 720. And then my principal amount is 1,800 multiplied by I again, and then my N, it's 5 years. 5 years. And then it's just a matter of solving for I. My interest. So this means I'm gonna divide both sides by 1,800 multiplied by 5. I believe I showed how we calculate this thing in the previous videos, but if I didn't, remember that in multiplication order ga ina taba ne. O mongwe ka no choose gore a divide ka 1,800 and then a fetcha divide ka 5. I get to deal like a multiplication mook, whatever number multiply when check out divide. But the simplest way go no remember that in multiplication order, but this thing can be written as this: 1,800 multiplied by 5, and then any like I mafelelo. I can write it as this, I get multiplication. And then, because it's so, then now nka kgona go divide both sides. Remember, ke no koncha 1,800 le 5 week. So this means ka mo fase I can just divide it ka 1,800 multiplied by 5. And then kgona bona re dio no cancelana so easy. So step se ke sengwadileng mo ga sena maraka, that's why be ke sa sengwale kwa mathomo. When I just know as long as gona le multiplication fela moki, divide ka 18,000, then uno konchale this 5 anger. So you multiply by 5, and then same applies this side, 1,800 multiplied by 5. So o ska lela go dira the methods that I use. When I shumisha method lo reng wa understand much more easier. So 1,800 will cancel 1,800, 5 will cancel 5, and then roshala ka I. And then this part, you're just going to use your calculator. As raw as it is, you can simplify a selo. You just say 720 divided by 1,800 multiplied by 5, and then it's going to give you 0,08. And then, like I said in the previous video, so to be safe, our question here, as you saw, asanka yari inaga interest rate in percentage. They can give you a mark, all marks go fitlemo, mara just convert it to percentage. Because I get because go shumisha formula cha finance ka moka, interest ya go review as decimal. So what are the answer mo? It is in decimal. So when I converted to percentage, go percentage wisha to decimal, we divide by 100. Then roja decimal wisha to percentage, you must multiply by 100. And then we multiply by 100, or your interest rate it will like 8%. That is your interest rate. We find delay as it is. So bagano award for this one, mara if ever question asanka yaba specific or in percentage, they just gonna mark it here or 0,08. And then if you like a percentage, we're not travel or multiply by 100 by makela here, or it's 8%. An amount of 1,200 was invested at 20% simple interest per annum. How long was the investment if the interest end on the investment was 650 rand? So once again, you lay down your data to say 1,200 day, it's obviously our P, because bare it's our invest. I get 20% day, it's our interest rate. And then bari renagana the period because bari how long, and then bari interest end is 650. Obviously this is our simple interest amount. This is our interest amount. So which formula are we gonna use? Because bari banaka n, and right about any gona a is equal to P, and right gona under SI is equal to P, blah blah blah. So which one are we gonna use? Relevela go rena leng. Under formula ya A is equal to P into 1 plus I times N. We can't use this formula because there are two unknowns. Ga re tsebe A, ga re tsebe N. So re ka se kgone calculate, re ka se kgone shumisha formula yeki. So obviously gore re shumisha ya SI, because ya SI re na le everything from the statement. SI agere ke interest amount, then is equal to P times I times N. So now it's a matter of substitution. Renale the interest amount, but the interest amount are 650 rand, then is equal to we invest 1,200. That's my principal amount. Multiplied by 20 divided by 100, because renaga in decimal. Then multiplied by N. This is the amount the period. So because I want to make N the subject of the formula, it's obvious that I'm going to divide ka. This is what I've been talking about in the previous activity. Remember this to or N. So you just divide ka 1,200 multiplied by 20 over 100. And then you do the same ka go left. But like I said, now prefer. So this part ka moka you cancel this part ka moka, and then our period. And then as for this side, you just say 650 divided by 1,200 multiplied by 20 over 100, and then it's gonna give you the value of 2 0 blah blah blah, but it's safest if you round it off to 2 decimal places. Your n, therefore your n is gonna lead 2.7. Yes, and then you're done. Obviously it gave me a decimal because this is an example that I just generated out of nowhere. How do we apply this formula? The simple interest, the P, the I, the N. So obviously now because the simple interest, the interest amount, the interest rate, the period. Obviously P, because ba tla ba go file your interest amount, ba go file your interest rate, ba go file your period, and then wena o tlo shumisha formula ya go kry-a P. It's very simple, guys. Let's see this one. Formula ya SI e bereka only if ba go file simple interest. But lebella this example. Craig invests 15,000 rand. So already that is our principal amount. But for 3 years, that is our period. At 16%, that is our interest. Okay, so compound interest. Okay, calculate the interest he receives. Calculate the interest that he receives. Dia SI because it's about SI EMG interest amount. Note how I said that this formula SI only if statement really simple interest. Compound interest. So how do you calculate? Ever feel a compound interest, you must remember and understand or kana interest again. Regulatory interest ke tšhelete ba e oketšang. So interest o ka ikira ka mekgwa e mentši. It's just that formula SI is the quickest. As long as only the final amount le the initial amount o ka kgona go your interest. Let's say maybe you invested 100 rand, and then after some few years wa kry-a le gore ka re ga banka gago o na le 1,500, not 1,500 but 150 rand. Enga go botša re ba okeditše bokae mo, you're obviously gonna say ba okeditše 50 rand, and 50 rand doing it is the interest amount. I get you are saying, or you invested 1,000 rand, and then after some few years wa ba le 150 rand. So re boletse gore interest amount ke tšhelete ba e oketšang godimo ga tšhelete o e beileng. So wena o beile 100 ranta, mafelelong wa ba le 150, go ra re ba okeditše 50 ranta. O ikry-ile bjang? O ikry-ile ka gore 150, which is ke tšhelete ya go mafelelong, wa e minusa ka tšhelete ya go mathomong, which is 100 rand, wa kry-a 50 rand. So 50 rand ke your interest amount, ke tšhelete ba e okeditšeng. Wa bona re ikry-ile ka go diang, ka go tšea our accumulated amount, tšhelete ya rena mafelelong, ra e minusa ka our principal amount, tšhelete ya rena ya mafelelong, then e re fa our interest amount. So just by this explanation o šetše o kwešiša gore interest amount ke le gore re kry-a bjang. Re kry-a ka gore interest a se formula ntho kene. Interest re kry-a ka gore the final amount minus the principal amount. Don't write this in your answer sheet. I'm just showing you gore go nyaka the interest ba file compound interest. O swanetse o tšhelete ya go ya mafelelong o e minus ka tšhelete ya go ya mathomo. So mo šetše o bona re na le P mara re na A. So now question ya go tlo ba gore kana ke find bjang A, and then o tlo bona everything e ba simple because ba re le compound interest. Obviously compound interest na le formula e tee. It's A is equal to P into 1 plus I to the exponent of n. So let's substitute. We have our P ke 15,000. 1 plus the interest nayo, it's 16%. We divide by 100 to convert it to decimal to the exponent of 3 years. So now it's easy because we calculate our final amount. After 3 years, so you just say 15,000 multiplied by 1 plus 16 over 100 to the exponent of 3. And then you get the value of 23,413 rand, 4 cents. As ke round off, ba ka nna mokgono 23,413 rand 44 cents. As you fate, remember, because yona calculation re le inaka the interest ya e kry-ileng after 3 years ba no ko tseba gore motho ke ba mo okeleditše bokae a ke ra ba re ba naka the interest ba no ko tseba gore ba mo okeleditše bokae. So you know gore motho after 3 years o bile le 23,000 mara mathomong o investile 15,000 o kgona bona re tšhelete e gotše ne. So the question e nyako tseba gore motho ke banka ye ba mo okeleditše bokae, what was the interest ye I receiving after 3 years. So wena you just gonna say the interest ye ba inyakang tla ngwala in full e tlo lekana le the final amount which is 23,413.44 cents we minus le tšhelete ya gage ya mathomong which is 15,000, and then obviously that amount it will be 8,413 rand 44 cents. This is your interest charge. This is your interest end. Ra re motho ke cause o thomile a investile 15,000 at like era 23,000 interest ye ba mo fileng yona interest ya ending ke 8,413 rand 44 cents. So you must know that ge question e re calculate the interest is not always in a case ya gore o tlo ba o shumisha formula ya SI is equal to o ka no shumisha if ba re le compound o tlo shumisha this method whereby o tlo tšea the final amount or minus the principal amount. So you know that when I'm just you keep it in mind gore interest ya gago ge ba go file compound e tshwantse o tšea the final amount or minus the principal amount. So maybe let's say statement ba go file A fela se ba go fi P ra re o tlo shumisha formula eno ya go ya compound ke ra re if ba re le compound interest then wa shumisha formula ye a ke re ba go file A. Obviously if ba go file A ba tlo ba go file le I le N then wena wa nyakana le P then o fetša o solve P then wa tsa re tlo re A minus P ya la o kry-ileng and then wa kry your interest amount. So if maybe swana le this example ye re sa tšo fetšang go e dira then ba go file P ga ba go fa A you calculate A and then o fetša mola wa re A ye nela ya gago minus P ye la ba go fileng and then o tlo kry your interest amount. But if ba go file if godimo ga statement ba re le simple interest there's no need ya go keteraiša you just know that o no re SI is equal to P times I times N and then ba tla ba go file P ba tla ba go file I le N and then we calculate your interest amount. So that is how we use this formula. Note that in finance amount ke tše tharo ke ra so far tše re dirileng re na le the accumulated amount which is tšhelete ya mafelelong re bona ka eng re bona ka bo after 3 years o bile le bokae-kae o tlo ne bona gore ke tšhelete ya mafelelong ye le goreng ba šetse ba edile di-interest e be e dutše ka re ga banka for some certain period. Re na le the principal amount which is the first amount tšhelete ya mathomong ye le goreng re tlo e bona ka ge ba re invest goba invested goba took a loan off go bonala gore ke tšhelete ya mathomong. Then ra ba le the interest amount which if felesetša ke the word interest so o tla no bona ba re the interest of 760 goba 850 in interest e felesetša ke lentswe le la interest. So o ka no bona ba re interest ke nambile ba e bea in rands wena o šetše o tseba re amount diweng ke the interest amount. So finance is very simple guys, you just have to read the English very carefully or understand the lower question in nyakaeng. Be careful o ska tla confuse interest amount le the other two amounts tšela re di tsebang the principal amount and the accumulated amount. So calculate guys, this is how we calculate. If you didn't understand just go through the video again until ukushisha. So in recap ke lo tše re dirileng today re calculate the interest amount re calculate the interest rate here re calculate the interest amount re sa šomiše formula ya SI because statement is really compound interest and then re calculate the period using formula rena ya SI is equal to. So yeah, that is how we use it.